Jeremy, how do you introduce yourself and what you guys do professionally there at Encore Search?
Yeah, so Jeremy Jenson, founder and CEO of Encore Search Partners. We're basically a 35-person executive search firm, and I've got 5 offers out right now, so we're probably going to be at 40, maybe even 42 by the end of the year, man.
Stellar. So one of the cool things that, you guys actually found me here at Hoteling.
Yeah, we were the recruiting agency that recruited and placed you. Yeah, Andrew Johnson is the recruiter that placed you, man. So, it's funny, Sherman, Dan had probably looked at about 10 profiles before you.
Yeah.
And they were missing something. And then he kind of gave us some insight to said, hey, I want someone that wants it. I want someone that's hungry, fire in the belly. Don't give me these insurance sales managers.
Yeah.
Give me someone that knows how to inspire and motivate people to achieve their goals. And we found you. It was really it was the right personality fit, I think, was the biggest selling point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know, like, in reading your posts on LinkedIn, you talk about your story, right? And so this is one of the biggest things, I think, why people don't start their own business is the fear, right? So talk about that, because there's a lot going on in your personal life. Okay. And then you had a lot of naysayers that were like, dude, don't do that. Like, you can't make that happen. That's a dumb model, right? They even told you that. Yeah. So how did you, number one, how did you get yourself to, like, look past all that personal crap that was going on and say, I'm going to do it? And then how did you silence the naysayers? Yeah,
so that's a great question. So I think I started my company kind of for the wrong reasons, to be quite honest. I was 20.
Spite?
Yeah, no, I was 24 years old. And, I was working in corporate America. It was 2008. The bottom kind of fell out of the whole entire economy.
Yeah.
In the United States, right? And the financial crisis and the housing crisis. And, over the next year, that kind of trickled down and affected everything else, right?
Yeah.
And so I was working for a $50 million pipe, valve, and fitting company at the time. And, I was probably making 70 grand, 24, 25 years old, which was a good business, right? What was that? 12 years ago, right? 13 years ago.
Still a good income today.
It's decent income for early career professional. Absolutely. And then I got engaged to a beautiful blonde petroleum engineer, and she made $99,600. That was her salary. And here I am making 70 grand, right? Half Mexican, half white, Mr. Macho Man, Latino guy. I needed to make more money than my wife. And so I marched into my boss's office and I said, Bob, I'd been there for about a year. I said, I've made you this much money. I've saved you this much money, right? I'm in every single executive planning session. I was like the admin bitch, right?
Yeah,
like the guy taking notes.
Yeah.
And I said, I want a raise. And he goes, well, what do you want, Jeremy? I said, I want $100,000, 100 grand salary.
Yeah.
And he said, Jeremy, well, you're invaluable to the organization, right? We view you as a long-term asset, and let me talk to the CFO. We'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Bob Gajeski came back 2 days later and he offered me $90,000. He said, here you go.
Yeah.
And I talked to my wife, my fiance at the time, and I told her about it. And she said, I don't think that you should take it. I think that you need to bet on yourself. You've worked your career by making other people rich, right? I think it might be time for you to take the leap on your own, right? But I knew I wanted to make more money than her.
Yeah.
That was what planted the seed, And so on May 5th, 2010, I started my own company. And that first company was a lead generation firm, a company that sent out email blasts and internet marketing to generate leads. And, we didn't charge by the hour, like a CPA or somebody like that. We got paid on performance, right?
Nice.
And I think that was one thing that was a massive contributor to just my thought process is, somebody will pay $50,000 for something.
Yeah.
If they get the $50,000 worth of value. It doesn't matter if you put in 500 hours at $100 an hour. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You can do 5 hours of work, but how much money did I make you? How much money did I save you? That was a massive learning experience for me very early in my career, was to get into an industry where you get paid on performance, not on time.
Okay. So then what made you decide then staffing? How did that then evolve?
Oh yeah, good question. So 2010, 0 clients, right? My first client was actually the company that I'd quit. They said, Jeremy, we don't want to lose you, man. We'll pay you $5,000 a month retainer. We'll be your first client and still do a lot of the stuff that you do for us now from a lead generation standpoint, CRM management, things of that nature, right?
Perfect.
And so I had this like little, umbrella, I guess, right? Not a golden parachute, a little bit of an umbrella. And then I went out and found more clients selling lead generation services, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 a month. Each company I met with, I quoted a little bit higher than the one before. And, here you go, fast forward 2.5 years, I had about 25 clients. And I was making about $300,000, right? In 2.5 years after I started my first business.
Yeah.
And at the time I had a 40K admin that was doing some stuff for me, but for the most part, it was me.
Yeah.
I was the one that had to come up with the creative marketing strategies for 20, 25 different companies. I had to be attentive to all their needs. And then one day I woke up and I said, why the hell am I charging this guy $4,000 a month and he's making $50,000, $80,000 a month?
Yep.
Right? And it was a staffing and recruiting company. And I looked and I had 4 staffing and recruiting clients. And I said, I'm making these guys rich. I'm in the wrong business.
Right.
300,000 I used to think was good.
Yeah.
And then now I'd elevated my social circle and I said, no, I need more. I want to do more. I want to be innovative.
Yeah.
And so I started a recruiting company in January of 2013. So we're about to celebrate 10 years. And really the reason why was not because I was a recruiter or had this network of candidates. It was because I saw an industry where if I placed someone, right, they would pay me $20,000, $30,000, right?
Amazing.
It's kind of like selling a house.
Yeah.
It's free to sign up, right? Mm-hmm. Show me a house I want to buy. When I buy it, then you get your commission.
Right.
And so the efficiency comes in with, I know your needs so well, I don't need to show you 20 houses. I need to show you one.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Or more importantly, you have a network of all the people that want to buy. And when you find something really, really good, you know who to call that's ready to buy it, even though they didn't tell you, show me houses. And so that's what's really changed my way of thinking in the recruiting industry is how do we represent the sexiest candidates in a business, right? The highest powered attorneys, the highest level technical salespeople, wealth advisors, investment bankers, develop a relationship with those people. When they are ready, they come to me as a subject matter expert and saying, hey, you know the space, right? Yep. And Andrew's building that network in the insurance space right now.
Absolutely.
But the point that I'm making is because of our knowledge and our technical acumen and the way that we can solve problems and complex issues for our clients with people.
Yes.
Like when I met with Dan, probably a year ago? How long have you been on board?
Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah, a year. He told me I want to grow. And he's willing to invest in technology, resources, people, channel partners, this gorgeous office that we're doing a grand opening for today at Hoteling Insurance, right?
Yep.
He's willing to spend money to make money.
Yes.
And we were able to solve that problem with a human being, right?
Absolutely.
And so you've been tasked with coming in and hiring a shit ton of insurance agents.
That's right. That's right.
And so the first year in business as a recruiting firm, I mean, I was new. I was young. I was sub 30, And people would give us, 75K jobs, 85K jobs. Our fees were $12,000 to $20,000. Those were big rips as a 28-year-old kid, right? Yeah. And then every year we started asking for bigger jobs. The first year, my average fee was 16.
Yep.
Next year was 18. The next year it was 20, then 24, 28. Now, you know what's hilarious? Year to date, 2022, Encore Search Partners, our average fee is $64,000. That's a single transaction. So to put it into perspective for listeners, because we all know the real estate market, right? Because our brother, our sister, our girlfriend, our uncle, someone's a real estate agent. That means that the average house that we sell is over $2 million. Amazing. So we've just gone up market.
Yeah.
We've just gone up market. We don't want to mess with the little roles.
Yes.
We want to place the Shermans, right? The 300, 400K earners, because those guys really move the needle for our clients.
Yes, absolutely.
Guys and girls, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So then for you, in getting into that space, naysayers. Talk about that, because I think that stops a lot of people then starting their own business or from expanding.
Yeah, so the naysayers very early on, I don't want to call someone out. So this lady in particular is related to my ex-wife.
Yes.
And she's married to to my ex-wife's father.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to name any roles or names. But you know, she said, okay, you're marrying my daughter. Remember I told you I was engaged whenever I start my business. I wasn't even married yet. You want to marry my daughter and you don't even have a job? You're unemployed? So actually I'm an entrepreneur. Yeah. I'm a business owner. Well, what are you going to do? So, well, I have this lead generation company. We do email blasts. We generate leads. You're going to spam people for a living? And you think that you're going to make money doing that? And so it got to the point where my ex-wife had just said, hey, you're engaging in too much unhealthy debate with my mom. I would prefer for you to just smile and nod. And that was a really good coaching experience for me. Yeah. To where I got through it by just smiling and nodding. Mm-hmm. And I wanted the results to speak for themselves. I didn't need to prove to her or tell her that it was going to be successful. I needed to show her. Yeah. That was one thing that was very, very important at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then for you, how did you have the confidence to like do it? Or not deter you?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a very good question. It's easy to walk away from a 70K, 90K job.
Absolutely.
To take a leap of faith.
Well, and they were going to give you a massive increase, right? So they were willing to come up, not to where you thought you were worth.
Right? No. Well, I'm saying it's easy to quit that job at 27 years old. No, 24, 25. At 25 years old.
Yeah.
Because you don't have, a vacation home in addition to your main home. You don't have a boat payment. You don't have, motorcycles. Yeah. You don't have 3 kids yet. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just go from eating fucking Chili's to maybe eating ramen noodles for 3 months.
Yeah.
And that's something a 25-year-old kid could do when he bets on himself.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost harder to quit a job when you're making $250, $300 to go out and do something entrepreneurial because you're leaving something that's safe and secure. Right?
Yeah.
Would you not agree?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so it was easy for me to quit my 70K job, which they given me 90, but I quit a couple of weeks later. But the point that I'm making is my ex-wife, we were engaged at the time, she had a 6-figure job with BP as a petroleum engineer.
Yeah.
She provided structure and stability. And really it was her support that gave me the confidence to do it on my own. If she didn't believe in me, if she had said, hey, just work your way up at G.O.A.T, you'll be the VP of sales. You'll be the president. You'll make $200,000. We'll have a really nice new base Lexus and a $400,000 house in Cyprus.
Yeah.
If she said that's the goal and that's the vision, I probably would have just stayed in corporate America. Yeah. But she said, no, you are special. And I believe in you. And I know that you will be successful in whatever you attempt in life. And so if it's something that you think you'd be good at, I believe in you. So really it was her belief in me that gave me the confidence to do it.
So you had someone in your corner.
Someone in my corner that I trusted and I respected. That was very, very important.
Yeah. So can you think of a time where you had to do the same thing again, right? So you built the business, right? And things are going well. Where did you feel like you had to do that again? You had to believe in a different level.
Yeah, that's a great question. So started the business in January of 2013, the recruiting business. And, about 4 years went by. We were grinding, we were hustling. I went from making $250 to $400 to $600. This is really good income for somebody in their late 20s, right? Yeah. And I had gotten to a point where the business had gone beyond what my capability could do. I was writing handwritten checks. I was 1099ing all the recruiters. We had a little 2,500 square foot office and a mixed use space that had like a garage bay in the back, like those strip centers.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any payroll systems. We didn't have 401k, no health insurance, but I was making $600,000 a year.
Yeah.
To some extent, I could have just been happy with that. I got this awesome lifestyle business. Yeah. Kind of like a lot of like boutique, maybe insurance brokerages or real estate brokerages.
Law firms, general, yeah, a lot of them, right?
But I said, hey, I want to turn this into a real company.
Yeah.
And so when I had to do it again was having the humility to say, hey, I'm really good at recruiting. I'm really good at selling.
Yeah.
What I'm not good at is being a manager, being a leader, being a business person, putting in processes, systems, and accountability. right? If you sucked as a salesperson, I could fire you and I'll hire someone else in 5 minutes. You know why? Because it's a low base and you get paid on performance.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So it's real easy to have high turnover.
Yeah.
But then I met this guy in Vistage, which is like a peer-to-peer executive advisory group. And his name's Scott Kelly. And Scott would hear a lot of the frustrations that I would vent about. And one day he told me, he goes, this guy was like 28, 29 at the time, sales manager for an IT consulting company. And he said, damn, Jeremy, you had all these problems in your business, right? You know, I got recruiters taking 3-hour lunches. I got people calling in, no showing, right? But these guys are making 150, 200 grand. They're lazy. Scott said, God, you must be losing a lot of money. I said, no, man, I made 600 grand. Because much like your managing partner, Dan DeLella, a lot of his income is tied to his individual production.
Correct.
There will be a day where Dan goes, I don't want to be a producer anymore.
Correct.
I want to be a CEO.
Yep.
But you need the infrastructure, right, in order to get there.
Yes.
He can be rich by selling a lot, but the only way that you can create wealth is when other people are making you money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's whenever I had that turning point, and Scott said, you know what, you need to let me come in and you need to let me run your company. I said, Scott, I was like, I can't afford you, man.
Yeah.
He goes, how much money do you think I make? I don't know, 250, 300. He laughed. He goes, no, not how much money I'm worth. How much do you think I make?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know. What's the number? He goes, if you get me to 150 in the first year, I'll come work for you. Vice president title, right?
Yep.
I'll come in, I'll learn your business. I'll put in processes, systems, accountability. We'll grow it. We'll be 20 million in the next 10 years. I said, 20 million? I'm doing 1.2, right?
Yeah.
In a service business, with no cost of goods sold. So if you were a manufacturing company, distribution company, we were doing 1.2 in gross margin, and he was going to get me to 20 million gross margin.
Amazing.
Right? Amazing. Let's do it.
Yeah.
He had just done it as a soldier and as a mid-level lieutenant with an IT consulting company. He could bring the same processes, systems, infrastructure, accountability, everything, the same toolbox.
Yep.
He could bring that to my business, but now as the head guy, right?
Yeah.
He had saw the mistakes that they made. He had saw the wins that they'd garnered because of the risks that they took. He'd done it before. I feel like people don't really believe that 28, 29-year-olds can come in and build companies, but it's 100%.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
And so Scott came on board as VP. I'll conceal the numbers. I gave him a base salary and I gave him a percentage of revenue.
Perfect.
And that beat the 150 if we stayed even. So I took a 25, 30% haircut to my income by investing in a person, right? Scott came in 2017, right? It took him a whole year to learn the business.
Yeah.
You can't come in and make all these changes right out of the gate. No way. Yeah. So he had to learn. Then he had to do resource planning, bench analysis. We had to get the bad apples off the bus. We had to backfill it with studs that wanted to come in and be successful. That whole process took about a year. So we skinnied down from about 8 to about 5.
Okay.
And then organic growth ever since then. And so we implemented a system called EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Yep.
When Scott implemented that, he got promoted to COO. He was over finance, operations, IT, HR. Once we tackled all of our quarterly rocks and strategic initiatives for the next 2 years, I said, damn, Scott, you've hired everybody in the company. There's nobody that came to work for Jeremy. They're all gone.
Yeah.
Right? You're the boss. Now you're the president of the company.
Right.
Right? So then Scott became the president and allowed me to focus on strategic growth. And so it took us a long time to get from 0 to 1 million.
Yes.
Right? Like 4 years. And then we went from like 1 million, 2.5, 4.5, 8, 10.5. You follow?
Yeah.
The scalability, once you put in the infrastructure, right? It's funny because we say that we're kind of like a train in a sense that you need 3 people, right? It's the CEO, it's the president, and then my executive VP of financial. And we've recently added another VP, my VP of legal. But Casey and Scott and I used to joke and say, well, if Jeremy's the train, right?
Yeah.
Then then Scott is the train tracks, right? Because I'll fucking drive off in any direction.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Casey is the fuel. You need all three of them to be successful, right?
Yeah.
And now that we've got Christina, our VP of legal, she's just pouring in more fuel onto the flame, and we're going faster.
Yep.
And so it's really the infrastructure that you put in and having the humility to say, this business is not about my talent. The clients don't do business with Jeremy. Mm-hmm. They want to buy Encore Search Partners. And how can we create a repeatable system and process to solve complex problems for our clients?
Yeah.
That's how we did it.
That's amazing. So then with the struggles that you have today, or the things that you think about, are they completely new problems that you didn't have 10 years ago?
Oh, of course. Entirely different problems. 10 years ago, it was, holy cow, oil just plummeted. Well, maybe not yet 10 years ago, but let's talk about 2014. Right?
Yeah.
Oil went from $128 a barrel to $63 a barrel in the course of about 45 days. Mm-hmm. We hear 63 now and we're like, oh, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good, yeah.
But then over the next 12 months, it went down to about 38. And being in Houston, Texas, a lot of our clients were decimated.
Yes.
I mean, you didn't have to be in oil and gas in order to be affected, right? Because like the insurance people were getting their premiums cut. Companies were going out of business. They were slow paying, no paying, right? And so service companies were impacted. I mean, it was
huge.
It
is across the board, right?
It was huge on our little, micro economy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so really back then it was, how can we stay alive? And I haven't told this story very often, but I'll tell it to you since we're buddies.
Yeah.
But in January of 2016, my ex-wife, we were married at the time. She's one of my best friends today. We talk every day. I love her more than anyone in the world. But my ex-wife informed me that she had gotten a layoff letter from BP in the mail. They mailed it.
In the mail?
In the mail.
Are you kidding me?
We're effective as June 14th, 2016. Your position's been eliminated. You have 6 months, right? So it wasn't like pack your shit and move out by 5, right? Okay.
An odd letter nonetheless, though.
We were expecting our third child. We had just bought a new home, which was a massive upgrade from the home that we had in Katy. And my business was decimated. My revenue, my fixed expenses for the company were about $100,000 a month. Mm-hmm. And my revenue was 0 that month. And I had just spent $80,000 trying to develop an app that I said, hey, I need to pump the brakes on this.
Yes.
Because I need to focus on saving my company.
Yeah.
And in a moment of weakness, I reached out to my CRM company. Okay.
Yeah.
It was called Job Science.
Okay.
So we were a recruiting agency and our CRM is called Job Science. I called the CEO and I said, Scott, I want to become an enterprise account executive for Job Science. I know your technology. I know the recruiting space, right? I said, what do you pay that? He goes, Jeremy, we'd be absolutely interested. And I went through 3 rounds of interviews. I got an offer, $130K base, variable compensation, $200, $250 on target as an enterprise account executive. And I looked at my wife and I said, do I need to take this job? Do I need to close the doors of the company? And I'll be damned, man, if she didn't say, no, you got this. We'll figure it out. You're not a sales guy. You're an entrepreneur. And
wow.
And instead of skinnying down in the face of an economic downturn, I actually hired more people because we had to go from just Houston to where we now had to go for markets that were doing well, right? We got into the Midwest, food production, manufacturing, industrial. We got into Charlotte, Nashville, where a lot of the young tech companies were emerging.
Yeah.
We got into third-party logistics. We looked at Miami, LA, Seattle, right? And because we couldn't go in and shake the hand of the CEO, press the flesh, establish rapport and credibility, Our close ratio for the jobs went from probably 60% if I met with the CEO in Houston, to now our close ratio was about 20%.
Okay.
Because like the guy in Chicago treated us like we were a commodity. There was no relationship, right?
Absolutely.
And so I wanted to maintain the same revenue level, but if my close ratio is 20% instead of 60, now I need 3 times as many people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally does.
So we doubled down, we hired more people, we changed the name of the company from Market Share Solutions to Encore Search Partners. We diversified nationwide, and we said, hey guys, we're all gonna make 60 grand this year, but we're gonna establish new relationships, we're gonna break into new areas, and I'll be damned if the market recovered and those guys that were making 60 were making 120 now, right?
Yeah.
But one of the challenges is when those 60K guys that could live off that were now making 120, a lot of times they took their foot off the gas pedal. And so then we bring in these new people where they say, hey, the minimum's 120, and they made 150. And then we looked at the 120 guys and said, you gonna let this new guy lap you like that?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, my bills are paid, I feel good. So then we had to manage those guys out of the organization and hire the 150 people. And then those people kind of got a little bit fat and happy, and then we brought in the 200K people. Right? And so just that constant pushing of the envelope, right? Never accepting mediocrity, establishing core values that are circled around excellence, resilience, meticulousness, right? Respect. And the most important for any revenue producer is competitive, right? Our people today, they don't come to work for a paycheck. They come to work to win. You know what a byproduct of winning in my industry is? Income. They make money.
Closing business, right?
They make money because they love to close deals, right? And so we've constantly evolved. You said, what's different between 10 years ago and now is that we hire to skill, we hire to passion, right? We hire to work ethic, adherence to our company core values. I don't hire experience. If you're a 5-year direct hire agency recruiter and you're making less than $200,000 a year, right? You're average, bro. We don't want to be in an environment where we're excited about hiring average people. We want individuals that are 500K earners. We just get them early on in their career. And early on doesn't mean 23, 24. We hire people that are retail managers, restaurant managers, right? We hire people that, I stole one from Goosehead. She was happy about making 150. I said, what? My bottom guy makes 150. What are you doing? You're drinking that Kool-Aid? They're brainwash you to say 150 is a lot of money? Come over here. The point that I'm making is we started hiring to passion, right? To purpose, to people that believed in the vision, the mission, the vision, and the values of Encore Search Partners, right? We just hired a new director of business development that came from the staffing industry where she was placing IT people. We don't even do IT recruitment. But her skill set and her passion and work ethic will translate to our business, right? I just hired somebody to recruit commercial bankers. He was my banker at Wells Fargo, right?
Amazing.
He's making $80,000 a year. So what are you doing 9 years? Come over here.
Crazy.
Come over here, man. And when they see the success, right? They see it's not just words. When they walk into the office, when they see the $700 Mont Blanc pen, right? When they see the $2,300 Dior shoes on the fucking producers, they know this isn't smoke and mirrors. There's no Tinder swindler here. Let me come here and make real money because I'll bet on myself 7 days a week.
So then how do you, in establishing, like getting through different challenges, right? So 2016 was a brutal one, right? 2020 was probably another brutal one. How was that for you guys navigating COVID?
Oh, that's a very fair assumption to make. So we were so excited. We had recently grown from, 2.5 to 4.8. And in 2020, we were supposed to hit 7.5 mil. And then boom, March 16th, 2020, we had a government mandate that said you have to work from home. hiring in the United States economy didn't slow down. It went to zero. Yeah. 0 people. And I lost probably $250,000 in that month, the month of March.
Holy.
I lost about $100,000 in April. Because some companies maybe they figured out a way to onboard people remotely, right? And then on April 11th, 2020, we secured our first round of the PPP funding. Okay.
Yeah.
Which was a part of the CARES Act.
Yes.
Of at the time, I think it was a $4 trillion government stimulus package in order to keep the economy going. And so we got a good chunk.
Yep.
And we kept everybody employed. And I lost money, but I had this free money to counterbalance it.
Yes.
And what happened is a lot of other businesses got that PPP money, and now their confidence level to start hiring again was elevated, whether they were remote or not.
Yep.
And then I'll be damned, when you look at Q3, it was things back to normal, almost like COVID didn't even exist.
Wow.
Industrial, manufacturing, tech, law firms, wealth management, they said we were hiring again.
We're back. Okay.
And then we recovered, and we were flat 2019 to 2020, right? 4.5.
Yep.
And then 2021, 8 mil.
Yeah.
And then 2022, 10 and a half, 11 mil maybe when we finish this year, right?
Yeah.
We got back to normal, but because we learned so much during quarantine, we learned how to facilitate meetings remotely, right? Boom. Cost of travel, right? I didn't have to wait till next Tuesday to shake your hand and meet with you in person. We could schedule a Zoom this afternoon.
Yes.
Right? Deals were done faster. I was able to make quicker hiring decisions internally. I was able to hold people to a higher standard to their KPIs because they said, damn, my company didn't let me go during COVID. This is a place I want to be at, right? And so we stopped maybe accepting a little bit of mediocrity. We top graded our team a little bit, right? And we really refined our process. We started to document our process from an SOP standpoint.
Okay.
We refined it, and then we leveled up our talent. And so, I think that that's super important to continually improving as well, is because you can't just put it all on the shoulders of the sales team to bring in clients. It's a matter of leveling up your operations people too, and increasing that client experience, right? In order to get more referrals and things of that nature. And so that's something that we did. And to be quite honest, it's something that we continue to do every single year.
Yeah. Now, it seems like you guys have evolved, right? As you kind of share the story of these different pain points and the different, sometimes you had to pivot, right? Because the government said you can't go to work, right? You got to work from home.
Yeah.
For you, as you look at it, did it have to evolve that way, or looking back, could you have just been like, "Hey, let's go hire $500,000, hungry producers. Let's just do it day one."
So now you're being mean and you're blasting me and calling me out because I didn't hire as many people as I should have.
Do you think that's possible though, knowing what you knew then?
Some of my competitors did, and I'm jealous.
Okay.
I got a buddy of mine. We started both our first companies in 2010. His name's Matt Furman. We're neck and neck growth, headcount, revenue, net income.
Yeah.
Right. Healthy competition. We play in different verticals.
Yeah.
It'd be like you competing with your buddy from Mass Mutual that has his. I brought on 7 agents this quarter. What'd you do? 5.
Okay.
He's pissed off, right? He wants to beat Sherman. But the point that I'm making is during COVID, Matt diversified. He doubled down. He hired more people. I got off the phone with him a couple of months ago, and I said, "What do you ask?" I said, "I'm at 31 employees." He goes, "Oh, we got 45. Okay. Matt, what's your revenue? It's 14 mil. God, I'm 10. Broke my heart. I left so much money on the table because I was playing it safe. I said, we'll see what happens. Surely a recession is coming.
Yes.
Inflation?
Yes.
Oh no, hiring's going to slow down. We can't be overexposed.
Yeah.
Right? I wish I would have started growing much, much earlier. Yeah. Because at the beginning of COVID, we were about 30 employees, and 4 months ago, we were 30 employees. And revenue went up because we top graded, we started chasing bigger deals. Yeah. But I should have hired more soldiers, right? And been comfortable saying, hey, it's okay for you to bill 150 in your first year.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay. That's acceptable. You look at that guy's number on the board, he's doing 800. He's got 8 years in the business. You'll grow up into him.
Yeah.
But I was so focused on protecting my 400, 500.
Yeah.
That I didn't do a good enough job of investing in people that were excited about doing 150 in their first year. And that's one thing that Dan does very well, is to say, hey, look, if they fit the core values, if they got fire in the belly, right? And they got a lot of runway left in their career, 150 is okay, right? Yep. He's a grower, not a shower. Bring him in.
It's perfect. Right? I can't believe we got that on there. It's phenomenal.
But that's true, right?
Absolutely. All day
long.
All day
you
long.
Teach a young guy like Garrett Corley and you say, hey, look, you got all the tools to be successful in this business.
Yes.
Let me show you what Dan did to get to 1 million, right? Absolutely. And then Garrett just walks around all day. He's got his little bracelet that says, what would Dan do? Right? What would Dan do?
Yep.
Not what did my boss at Podunk, Hotchkiss or wherever he came from. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
What would Dan do?
Yeah.
And these talented people, they grow up into studs. So that's one regret that I have, is I wish I would have hired more 150 people, 150 production, not income, just FYI. So people that were excited about 60 grand.
And can grow.
And they just grow. You give them the tools, systems, resources.
Yep.
And then you turn them into 800K producers, 300K earners. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you think of a time where you had to let someone go as you grew and evolved, right? And you had to let go somebody that was producing good revenue for the firm, but they were a bad culture fit, right? Because you talk about those 5 core values that you have.
We have 7 now.
Yeah, you have 7. Yeah. Okay.
I left off 2. My COO is going to get mad at me that I left him off too. There are several instances where we had to let go a high performer at the time. And my top producer from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Every one of those
6 years of top production.
This is not the same person. Okay. I'm saying these are different people. 3 people, right? Because they go for 2-3 year stretches.
Absolutely.
And then they get complacent, they fizzle out, they get burnt out. So you look at all those years, right?
Yeah.
Every one of them is gone.
Really?
In 2020, my top producer, my top biller, her name is Christina Lyles. Maybe Simon Jim was top producer in 2020. I need to go back and look at the data. It might have been Simon Jim. He's still here today.
Okay.
We just promoted him to run his own business unit, and Christina was recently promoted to run her own business unit as well. But the point that I'm making is Christina, young, female, captain of the tennis team at Texas A&M, Division I athlete.
Yeah.
Never made a B in her life. This woman is a beast, right?
Holy cow.
She wants to work for a firm that has a clear path for upward mobility, where she's treated with respect and she's paid fairly.
Okay.
And they value her opinions, right?
Okay.
They give her freedom and autonomy to be creative, to generate revenue, and they believe in her, right? Well, my top biller from 17 and 18 was cocky, a little bit sexist.
Okay.
A little bit talked down to people that weren't on his production level.
Okay.
Christina Lyles would have quit the company if I had kept that guy. I don't want to work for a company that rewards and praises arrogance, selfishness, disrespect.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're an 800K producer, $1 million producer. I'd rather lose the $1 million and backfill it with 300K producers that drink the fucking Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And are excited to come to work every day and treat people with respect. My gross margins will always be my gross margins, right?
Yes.
It might take me more people to do what that guy does because he's a beast.
Yeah.
But the only way that we can grow is with culture, man. I'm telling you, I would have lost Christina.
Yeah.
And when we were praising that individual's 840 in production, which we had never seen at our firm before, $840K a year a producer, Christina became a 1.3. The year after that, 2021, she did 1.8 in production.
Amazing.
As a third, fourth year associate. Are you joking?
Killing it.
Right? You look at your insurance people, that's basically GDC.
Yep.
Right?
Correct. Yeah,
1.8, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Right? 1.8 is good for like a guy with 15 years in the business. He's got 5 people working for him.
Yeah.
You know, this is a solo individual, right? And then she made a ton of money. She bought the house. She bought the 6-figure car, the Birkin bags, the Kelly bags, right? Everything, right? She got there.
Yeah.
And now you know what the next phase in her career is in her 4th year?
Yeah.
Now I want to teach. She's a division VP. She's bringing in the young associates. She's getting them excited about getting fired up, about making $200,000 a year, right? Because they come in at about 60.
Yeah.
And she's not, it's not about her anymore. She doesn't need to make $700,000 a year anymore.
Yeah.
If she can make 400 and create something very exciting and sustainable, right? And then that 400 over time, because if her override gets bigger, she's making 450, 500, and eventually she'll be a 7-figure earner.
Yeah.
Like Casey Knight in our firm, who started his division 6.5 years ago, almost 7 years. I had to convince Casey to quit a job where he was making about 140, 150, right? 3 young kids.
Yeah.
Mortgage he probably couldn't afford, right? Just opened a vape shop because he was bored at work, right? Wanted to leave the industry.
Yeah.
Say, Casey, you are a stud. You're just burnt out.
Yeah.
Come over here. Processes, systems, and accountability. Let's build something special together.
Yeah.
Now, Casey's business unit, I talked about her 1.8.
Yeah.
Casey's business unit will do 5.5 million in revenue.
Wow.
Now, it took 13 people
to do that.
That. Not just producers, operations, support, right?
Yep.
I think that's what sets hoteling apart is you got all these other agencies, it's about producers.
Yep.
Well, what can I pay for as the house that's going to turn that 300K producer into a 500K producer?
Yep.
Why is he filling out forms?
Right.
Why is he doing webinars?
Yep.
Fuck that. He needs to sell.
Yep. Get them doing what they do
Get
best.
them doing what you do best, dude.
Yeah.
A good salesperson, 99% of us are kind of dyslexic and ADD.
Yeah.
I don't need to be filling out the CRM. I'll hire her.
Yeah.
She'll fill it out for me.
Yeah.
So putting in that infrastructure to grow, I think it was very, very critical to our growth.
What's it like to think about where you had to bring someone on and you had to remove your ego? So a lot of times when you first start a business is because you're the smartest person in the room in that particular area, right? You have expertise, you have the drive, you have the hunger, right? But then now in order to take it to the next level, you have to be able to get out of your own way and say, I'm bringing on somebody else that has a skill set that I actually don't have.
So that was definitely the first year that I'd done that with Scott Kelly. And
how was that like emotionally? Just because there's money involved in that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I lied. It was Casey Knight because Casey started in May of 16. Scott started in October. But you talk about removing the ego.
Yeah.
So I've been an entrepreneur for almost 13 years, and don't get me wrong, I still have a really big ego, right? But I was putting myself in rooms with people that didn't make $1 million a year, like I was. Mm-hmm. Cocky, arrogant. I always knew I was the smartest, most innovative person in the room. Because the room I was in
didn't dictate.
They didn't have those people.
Yeah.
Then I started putting myself in a different room. I joined the Entrepreneurs Organization.
Yeah.
With people that didn't make $1 million a year, they were making $1 million a month. Right? And I saw.
Why did you do that?
It's a much longer story, but
keep going.
We can go. I needed to level up, man. I was going through a divorce. I lost all my friends who were all Katie dads. I moved inside the loop and I wanted to elevate my social circle. I joined EO.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of cocky, arrogant people in there, but I started to gravitate towards the people that I looked up to, right? And look up to doesn't mean financially, right? Yeah. I could look at the relationship that person has with his wife, the relationship that person has with his kids, the relationship that person has with her parents, the relationship that he has with his employees, the relationship that he has with his money, right?
Yeah.
The guy, my best friend, 3 Lamborghinis, 2 Rolls Royces, 2 G-Wagons, 4 Ford Broncos, like fully restored classics.
How many drivers in the house? 15?
Him, his fiance.
2 people.
The point is like, why the fuck do we grind all day and hustle and focus on making millions? Why? So we can die and give it to our kids and they can smoke it and snort it?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to live my motherfucking life, right? I looked up to all these people that have relationships, right? And it completely motivated and inspired me to counterbalance my entire way of thinking, right? $1 million a year income isn't shit, right? It's about how do you make people feel?
Yep.
It's about what do they say about you when you're not there, right? It's about reputation. That's what became important to me. And you know what happened, Sherman? It's so funny. When I changed my way of thinking from a making money standpoint to where it was like, I'd rather just invest in people and trust and respect and give them tools, systems, resources, spend more money on them, give them higher salaries, right? Give them promotions. You know what accidentally happened? I started making more money. It's ridiculous. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's amazing.
It's amazing, right? Dan could have went out and hired a guy that was excited about making $90,000 a year to be a sales manager.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
The guy could have showed up to work with a smile on his face, tried his hardest. Maybe he recruits. Okay. But when you invest in talent, right? A real managing director of national recruitment, Sherman on, right? That's what's going to move the needle for the organization. I don't look at you as a $300,000 expense. I look at you as a $300,000 investment. Because what kind of ROI can Sherman give my organization? It's not his individual contribution. It's about the downline that he's going to create. It's about the marketing, the PR, right? Yeah, we can we can quantify how many agents he brought in this quarter and what are those agents producing. But what's the macroeconomic effect on that? He's completely changed the brand.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Investment instead of cost. I changed my mindset.
Yeah. And is that what you saw a lot of times in talking with these just very successful, relationship-driven individuals, is that that's where they focused? It was, for them, it was an investment of time, talents, money.
Exactly. But again, not necessarily in their business. I saw how they were treating their wives,
everything,
treated their kids, their parents. And a lot of times it wasn't the same person, right? Because there are different things we excel at. If let's say that life is, let's say you have 100 points, right? And there's 5 buckets. There's like work, social, religion, children, spouse, right? Whatever they are. You only have 100 points. So if you put 40 here, maybe this one has to go down. We can't be 100 in every arena on what we focus our attention on, right? Now you can be disciplined and get your exercise in and then, but you don't need to be a super gym rat and do 4 hours in the gym if you're trying to travel for work and, whatever.
Absolutely.
So the point is I started to see all these people that were operating at 100 in a different area. And I started to say, how can I cheat code? Right? How can I get as close to 100 as possible? Right? And really what it was changing my mindset. Right? So when you look at like relationships, right? It wasn't about push marketing. How can I go out and ask out 100 girls? It was, how can I create the very best version of myself and self-promote to where the girls that I really want are proactively reaching out to me? Does that make sense?
There you go. Yeah.
Right? Okay. Now I'm at 90.
Yes.
But it doesn't require 90 effort, right?
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you look at work. Okay. Well, I want to make a lot of money. I could have focused on selling, producing. I'm the rainmaker, dude. I'm best salesperson in the building. Any fucking building in any recruitment industry, I'm the best fucking salesman in the building.
Yes.
But it wasn't about putting in 90. It was about how can I find all these other people that have the capability to put 90, right?
Yes.
And investing in those people and leading them and inspiring them and showing them how to do it and trusting them to say, all right,
now go.
Go.
Yeah.
Now I get 90, right, in that income bucket, but I only put in about 20. Does that make sense?
Absolutely does. Absolutely does.
And so I spread it out, but it's about reverse engineering. How do I get what I want?
Yep.
By being as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
So instead of willing your 24 hours into every bucket, you're deploying leverage.
Leverage. Absolutely. It's funny that you use that figure.
Yeah.
Right. Because when we hear the word leverage, we think about borrowing capital.
Yeah.
But in this instance, it's borrowing, good faith.
Yep.
Right. Goodwill. Borrowing reputation, brand management, right?
Yes.
And do you have a relationship with me, even though it doesn't require my time?
Yeah.
And I think that one resource that really does build credibility and relationships is social media, right? You and I have met maybe 3-4 times at company events, shake hands, rub elbows, laugh.
Yep.
But I feel like you know who I am and I know who you are because of the content that you produce on LinkedIn.
Correct.
You'd probably say I'm one of your good friends.
Yes.
I would say you're a good friend.
And I love what you're doing, right? What you're talking about. Because I'm reading your posts.
Yeah. So the point is how can we leverage technology to deepen relationships too?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are fake, right? Maybe they're editing their photos.
Yep.
They're putting fake backgrounds that they're in Bali whenever they're at, in a fucking green room, right? Who knows?
Right.
That exists.
Yes.
But not everybody has malintent on social media, right? You want to share knowledge.
Yeah.
Now, it's self-serving to be known in your industry.
Absolutely.
Because when someone finds out that you got a second-year guy, what's his name? Who's the guy that came from Northwestern Mutual? Kevin? What's his name?
John Roman.
Huh? No, the guy. He was right before you. Kyle.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Your audience should know that Kyle was a $350K producer at Northwestern.
Yep.
And now he's doing $800 at hoteling.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that you can be Kyle. It means ask me what Kyle is doing.
Yes.
And I'll tell you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? I don't need to be Michael Jordan. I need to know what the fuck did Michael Jordan do?
Right.
To do what he did, because there's only one Michael Jordan.
Right.
Right? And so that's really what you're doing is you're experience sharing. Right?
Yep.
Oh, you're only getting paid on life? What if you could get paid on PNC?
Yep.
What if you could get paid on XYZ?
Yes.
The relationships you're already leveraging, you're doubling your income right there. What?
Yeah.
Work smarter, not harder. Right? I know your boss is probably not going to like me saying that, but the fact of the matter is you can be efficient and effective and a high performer, right?
Absolutely.
I don't want someone to fuck with Microsoft Excel trying to figure out what works for 3 hours and waste their fucking time.
Yep.
Go to YouTube, look up how to do it, watch a 3-minute video, hell, even a 10-minute video.
Yes.
And then it takes you 10 minutes to do it.
And now you're done.
Yeah. That's smarter, not harder. Now, granted, we still need hard work.
Yeah.
Right? But that's what separates the 300K producers from the 800K producers. Because you cannot bill, we know this, you cannot bill over 600,000-700,000 with just work ethic. Right? You have to be smart and you have to work hard.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks for the time, man. This has been freaking awesome.
Yeah. Time flew by.
It does. It does.